What conspiracy theory do you 100% buy into and why? Madeleine McCann was not abducted. There was so much subsequent heat that the abduction would not have lasted. People who said they believed MKUltra was real were laughed at for being kooks. Sometime later it becomes declassified information. That BuzzFeed employees post questions on AskReddit and then make articles like Top 10 Conspiracy Theories Most People Buy Into. Yuri Gagarin was not the first man in space, just the first man to live through it. Planned obsolescence everywhere in the industry. If everyone stopped replacing their cars and smartphones, imagine the shitstorm. The English were absolutely moving arms on the Lusitania, that's why they dropped a shit-ton of depth charges on the wreck 30 years later to destroy any evidence. The coup attempt in Turkey was faked in order for Erdogan to consolidate his power and purge opposition. Paul Pierce shit his pants in the NBA Finals and faked an injury to change his pants. Snapchat selfie filters get sent and stored to the NSA for facial recognition. Oswald may have killed JFK, but he was a puppet for either the CIA, KGB, or the mob, or a combination of them. The CIA killed Marilyn Monroe because Kennedy had been disclosing classified information to her. The CIA first gave black communities crack in the 70s as an experiment. 2017 pushed me over. Walmart's security system is shared with the government because every time they have a nationwide search for someone they post a photo of them leaving a Walmart somewhere. That the term conspiracy theory was made up by the FBI to describe the people writing books about JFK's assassination. That much of the current polarization and hate around social issues is, although self-maintained, triggered purposefully and amplified by manipulators in an act of destabilization of Western societies, especially North American, through social media. This applies to both sides, which are too complacent to see it in themselves. Stevie Wonder can see. Pretended to be blind as a child as a prank, it made him famous, now he lives the lie. Dude has courtside Lakers tickets, a driver's license and a bunch of cars. Mattress firm is some sort of giant money laundering scheme. They are ducking everywhere and always empty. I remember seeing 4 mattress firms all on each corner of an intersection once. There is no way there is such a demand for mattresses. I'm willing to believe a lot of things about 9/11, but I'm not willing to believe known terrorist passports falling clear of 1 million tons of glowing rubble onto the hood of a car, miraculously intact, and I'm not willing to believe Arabic languages flight manuals left in the hijacker's car. The woman's clothing industry is a conspiracy. Winter cardigans intentionally thin so they have to buy more to layer them, no pockets so they have to buy bags. If the men's clothing industry tried the same shit, I guarantee the global economy would collapse overnight. The Democratic Party had a secret deal with Hillary Clinton during the presidential elections. During the primaries for 2008, they asked her to step down so that Obama could have the nomination. In exchange, they guaranteed her the nomination after Obama was done. That's why Bernie was shafted by the party for the 2016 elections. Hitler made it to Argentina. I believe this after watching numerous documentaries on this subject. Especially after they found the tunnels leading him directly to a getaway airfield. And then they found his most precious possessions in a family home, hidden away, in Argentina. Argentina had pockets and towns full of people that supported Hitler. There were schools teaching Aryan youth. The perfect place to escape to. The motivation industry is actively invested in making you fail by encouraging burnout. They divert blame from themselves by always saying that you can do it if you put your mind to it, making the person who burnt out believe it was the fault they failed when in reality they've been socially conditioned to take on more than they can handle. They repeat the cycle, buying products they think will help them. Meanwhile, the people selling the products continually embed the message that it's all on you. The free Wi-Fi at your local mall is a way to steal personal information from your smartphone to use for marketing. Surveillance cameras and store security barriers also track you. My Local blocks all access from your carrier, demanding you use that free service. Fewer doors and a lack of visible clocks are used to keep you in there, casinos too, and not aware of how long you have been shopping. During Hurricane Katrina, the Murphy Oil Refinery in St. Bernard Parish, just outside of New Orleans, had a container rupture and leak oil on a lot of the surrounding neighborhood, including my grandparents' and uncle's houses. After the cleanup, the land was deemed uninhabitable and the oil company was able to purchase all the land for very, very cheap. Many people that were affected and, in the area, believe that the oil company did it on purpose, and I tend to believe them. Madeleine McCann was totally killed. Whether on purpose or by accident I don't know, but the parents have tried to hide it. I remember reading sometime about how they claimed a man took her and the only witnesses who were in the street at the time said they saw a man walking away with a rolled up carpet, and the description fit the father. Personally, I think there was an accident in the hotel room and they tried to cover it up. Not expecting it to blow up as huge as it has. Psychedelics are illegal not because a loving government is concerned that you may jump out of a third-story window. Psychedelics are illegal because they dissolve opinion structures and culturally laid down models of behavior and information processing. They open you up to the possibility that everything you know is wrong. Terence McKenna, You Don't Need a Formal Conspiracy When Interests Converge. George Carlin. Crack cocaine was distributed by CIA to African American communities in the 80s and today controls the poppy production in Afghanistan. That there is a group of powerful people in Hollywood who are child rapists and abusers. And they have gotten away with it for far too long. No, not Pizzagate or satanic cults. Just plain old evil men and women molesting children for fun and profit. The mafia is partially the reason why the Twin Towers came down as quickly as they did. I can't remember where I found it, but essentially when the WTC was being constructed, the mob had control of a bulk of the construction companies involved. A bit of money laundering here, a bit of skimping on the fireproofing there, a bit of money for the inspectors to turn a blind eye, and the WTC was ready to go. Of course, no one could plan for a 757 to plow head-on full of gas into a structure not fireproofed adequately. That CIA, or some other agency, knew about the upcoming 9/11 plot and chose not to stop it in order to have an excuse to invade other countries and pass the Patriot Act, thus giving themselves even more surveillance powers. Bill and Hillary Clinton have an open marriage, but when Bill got caught with Monica Lewinsky, they felt it would be easier for the voters to accept Bill couldn't keep it in his pants than accepting a poly-first couple. Also, apparently Hillary had an affair with someone in the 1980s. Football is heavily endorsed by the government. High schoolers who have dedicated the last 4 years to stay in shape, accept physical punishment, feed off your teammates. Son, welcome to the US Army. Lip balm makes your lips dependent on lip balm. It just seems the more you use it, the more you need to use it. Not sure if that's an actual conspiracy, but that's the best I can come up with on a shitty Monday morning. My dad is 100% sure that in approximately 20 years it will come out that the US government has had a deal with companies like Microsoft and Apple that force them to make a backdoor into every product they make. Every time we talk about surveillance, he says, just wait, they've had the keys all along. National security letters, full stop. The NSA knows everything about everyone as long as it's stored somewhere on US soil. Even information about people not in the US. Only citizens of openly isolationist nations, i.e. North Korea, are fully exempt. The Big Five of data and analytics, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, are headquartered in the United States West Coast and have the bulk of their servers on US soil. Big Brother isn't a hypothetical bogeyman anymore. He's watching you right now. Martin Luther King Jr. being assassinated by the government. The King's family even believes this one, it's up on their official website. I definitely believe he was killed by the government. It's completely plausible, the guy who was arrested was framed, and since he already had a criminal background, no one thought twice. Tsar Nicholas' son, I don't remember the son's name, was being given aspirin for his hemophilia. Rasputin knew this would only make his condition worse but didn't share this with the Tsar or his wife. In those days, aspirin was a new miracle that cured all drugs. But it expands the capillaries and thins the blood. For someone dying because they're hemophiliac, there's nothing worse to give them. Whenever Rasputin was around, he didn't let the son take aspirin and he got better. The Tsar's wife was convinced he was her son's only hope and kept him around despite his outgoing personality. A huge number of conspiracy theories are pushed by the CIA, FBI, other government agencies, especially the more insane ones, Flat Earth, Time Cube, etc., in order to discredit actual conspiracy theorists who have actual points. Think about it. The fact that people who question the narrative are on the same level as people who believe the world is flat is astounding. It is possible, in theory, that 9/11 was faked, while no observation of the world supports that the Earth is flat. Yet, we compare the two. It's a deliberate misinformation campaign that exists for the sole purpose of turning normal people away from questioning the narrative of mainstream news agencies. There is this massive building near where I live that stores grains. It is across town from a flour factory. I don't know what company owns this massive storage place though, it definitely isn't the flour company. It was built in the 90s. And back then there wasn't any housing development square around it until 2005 when my estate was built. Half the windows are broken and they are all boarded up. But it definitely is still in action because sometimes we heard a sound from it that sounds like machines are running. It has a shit ton of satellites on top. Maybe about 20. And nearly every day you see someone on the roof in high vis tinkering with something. We live pretty close to a massive airfield and army camps. And we live close to Proton Down, where a top-secret military medicine facility is located that does who knows what. As well as the Army HQ being built here. I am 100% sure the building is more than just storage. There was a brothel madam not too far back that was caught and planning to come forward with a lot of politicians that were Johns. Just before she was found hanging, she had sent a message to someone saying that if it appeared she committed suicide soon, it was a setup. Forgot the exact details, but it was something like that. It was not that long ago either and was completely forgotten about by the public. Not even really a conspiracy theory, just a series of interesting facts that I think makes a pretty obvious equation. Reply: yeah, she was running a honeypot sting, using her girls to get dirt on important people in DC. She was pretty outspoken that she wasn't suicidal and then winds up hanging before releasing her files.